Hey guys. Okay, we're starting a new tier on Patreon. And the Patreon address is, let me do a banner for that. Let's see here. Let's create a banner. And I'm going to do a banner for the Patreon to show the addresses. Patreon/Missmensa. And the new tier is titled, What If? Add banner. Okay. Let's edit that. Join Patreon. Save. Click. There we go. I thought it would be like scrolling. Oh, I think I need a ticker. Well, I'll just leave it that way. Okay, that's good. We'll go back to comments. Here we go. Hey, Cecile. Hey, Star Mama. All right. If you're already a member of the main one, the Missmensa's True Crime Case, blah, 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 that one will include all of the What If uploads. So if you're already a member of the main one, then you'll go ahead and get. Ooh, good idea. Good idea, Star Mama. Let me see here. I'll see if I can find it. So if I go to that, and then I go to that, I think, let's see. Okay, there it is. It's What If, and it has a photo of Bella. Okay, so now I'll copy this address. Copy. And here is the link. But what we're going to do in the What If group is daily uploads asking the question, what if? And here's the thing. Any of our subs in the Patreon can go ahead and say, what if XYZ? And then we'll go ahead and explore it. Because if I'm going to do daily uploads, I'm going to need your help with ideas. But, right off the bat, think of it. What if Christopher Watts was telling the truth when he said that he did not murder his children, Bella and Cece Watts? What if? What if Scott Peterson is not guilty? What if O.J. Simpson is not guilty? I mean, he's already not guilty, right? What if he really is not guilty? What if Christopher Watts' wife would have stayed in North Carolina? What if she would have been investigated when she made a video saying that she gave the girls lots of Tylenol? What if? What if our theory's right on this case? Remember, we're never going to know the truth about this case, right? Well, what if? So has the drama calmed down, I think? pretty much in the last couple days, you guys? It appears to have. There for a while, it seemed like everybody was fighting with everybody. I think it's interesting when people say that they want to like post their, what do they call it, receipts? Because people create their own receipts, right? They create whatever they want to say. So I don't know how those receipts can actually be receipts of anything. DG is still at work. Hi, think for yourself. Here's a good one. Star Mama says, what if SW's family got her help and made sure she was in treatment? And another question might be, what if they did? I listened to part of Christopher Watt's interview today, just a few minutes of it. It was in a different video. And he was talking about how stressful it was to have other people living there. I think that the two comments go together. Star Mama's comment, what if SW's family got her help and made sure she was in treatment? And then Cecile followed it up with, what if the truth were to come out? What if we were to see a CPS file? What if we were actually to see a diagnosis? What if we were to actually learn more about that month that she stayed in Indianapolis, or she claimed she did? And for those of you who say she didn't stay there, then why is she posting on her social media that she did? Either way is kind of squirrely. So what if there is an innocent man willing to sit behind bars for the rest of his life? To protect the image and all. Could it be that he feels guilty for not protecting his children? What if a social worker were to come forward and tell everything they know? What if there actually was a video from Walmart? We're told there was a video from Walmart that was sent to the prosecutors and it was returned to Walmart saying, no, thank you, we don't need it now. Did the defense lawyers ever get a copy of it? Was that before or after the conviction? Or I should say the plead. The day that he pleaded guilty. Star Mama says, what if the full autopsy reports were released? What if we learned that the likelihood that it was decomp is like, what were the numbers again? They did a study. I think there were 200 and some people. And the average for any decomp, which was found in 1/5 of the people, 20% of the people, so it'd be roughly 50 people. The average level was something like 0.59 for decomp, the BAC. So, 0.128? And I don't mean 0.59. I think it was 0.059. Ooh, Susie's getting some work done. That's good. Star Mama's on a roll today. Star Mama says, what if SW's doctors came forward about her real health issues? Yeah. What if we were to learn that she had a series of caregivers? What if, right? What if we were to learn that she was diagnosed with some pretty serious stuff? What if her maid of honor came forward? And you know what? She isn't coming forward. I wonder if there might be some sort of a HIPAA reason. Maybe that's why so many people aren't coming forward. You know, we were told we'll never know the truth. Maybe a lot of the people in her life, or maybe everybody in her life, were bound by HIPAA. Wasn't it in her friend's phone that her number was listed as mom's work? Do you know anybody who signs up for a bunch of MLMs who honestly calls that work? I don't. What if we were able to find out what the girls' attendance records were at the daycare center? DG says, why are people afraid to tell the truth? Well, if they were actually caregivers, then they would be bound to confidentiality. Grace says, hi, Lady J. Hello, friends in chat. So what if? What would it take for the public to say, whoa, 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 wait just a minute? I think if we saw a CPS file, that would probably get a little bit of a movement going where people would be saying, what? What? That's a good one, Star Mama. What if we could see the videos of what went on in that home daily? Just imagine. And I don't mean the videos where she's trying to teach you how to peel an egg, Star Mama. A house with that many cameras, that many locks, that many people checking first thing in the morning and checking every evening and moving right in for months at a time. What if they retrieved actual footage of every vehicle that came and went? What if we actually got to see airport videos? You know what I'm saying? I bet you every little bar in the airport had a video camera rolling. And then we would probably be told that the lemon drops didn't have any alcohol in them. Yes, what if CW took a lie detector test about what really happened that day and passed it? What if they would ask him the simple question, did you kill Bella? DG says, I have a feeling it was a horror show. I do too. Especially when you consider how many of those videos are already bordering on a horror show. And people go, oh, what a great mom. Exactly, Susie. Airport, yes, but not for SW exclusively. So this is the flavor of what the videos will be for the What If tier on Patreon. And I'm going to go ahead and do a daily upload every morning just with a what if. And then I'll just blab, blab, blab about it. So definitely throw your suggestions out there and I'll have plenty to work with. I'm not sure how to save this chat because actually these are all really good ideas for videos. Because when we finish talking, then the chat disappears. I think I'm going to scroll up. Because seriously, you guys have some really good ones here. Okay, airport vids. Lie detector tests. Videos of in-home action. Videos of cars coming and going. Real health info. CPS file. What if CW has been played? Full autopsy reports. I like Cecile. What if the truth came out? That covers it. Daycare attendance records. True financial information. The reason that the house is sitting there. How the student loan got forgiven. And that's a really good one. What if she would have gotten the help she needed? I think she actually was getting help. I think she was getting help, and I think that the help she was getting had too many people who were willing to pretend away the severity of what was going on. What if she would have been arrested? I'm writing it down here. What if she would have been arrested and charged for medical abuse? And another one, what if CW got custody which I think he would have. Definitely. In fact, I think he was already getting full custody with that hearing that was pending shortly. It was scheduled for shortly after the tragedy occurred. I think the timing is just too obvious, you guys. I just do. I could do one, what if my theory is right? You know, think about it. Before I got that phone call, the first one, from people insisting there was an open CPS case, nothing about this case fit. Nothing. It was all weird. It was all off kilter. That phone call came and it was like, whoa. It all fits. And everything I was told fit. everything. Like everything. Yes, that's a good one, Star Mama. Remember that live chat we did where the two people came forward saying that she was kicked out of Facebook groups? That'd be interesting to hear from more Facebook people. What if Facebook people came forward? Remember that one guy said they had to change their phone numbers? He and his wife were being harassed so bad from Christopher Watt's wife, and she would not leave them alone. They had to change their phone numbers because she wouldn't stop calling them. Amanda says, what if she wasn't pregnant at all? If she was drinking at the airport, none of her friends were concerned with drinking while pregnant. Good ones, Amanda. What if she wasn't pregnant? And if she was, what if she wasn't spotting and cramping? Is that how she controlled the guy? Anytime he sounded distant, quote unquote distant. Oh, spotting and cramping. Oh, yeah, spotting and cramping. Yeah, sure. Ooh, good one, Cecile. What if Cardigan lied to CW about the results of the polygraph? Which is perfectly legitimate, too, to do. I'm not saying it's, but it's, I should say legitimate. It's legal for her to do that if she wanted. What if Cardigan lied about the results of the poly? And here's another one that's kind of a little bit along the same lines. What if the police department handled the case without calling in all of the, specialists to interview him? I still don't understand why the FBI was involved with the case at all. There was no evidence at that point that the children were taken across state lines. So when did it become a federal case? That's a good one, Star Mama. What if all of the people coming out and talking about the case who claim to know would have told the truth right from the start? Why do the stories keep changing? How about what if the truth mattered to many? In the case. Exactly. What if Nate told the truth and what if Nate handed over his entire videos, right? I've never heard of evidence being taken that way. Since when do they leave it up to private citizens to go, oh, here's something for ya? What if the traveling makeup bag never left the house? And why was that taken into evidence, for Pete's sake? It went all the way to North Carolina and back. What was in that bag? Welsh is here. Hey, Welsh. We're starting a new tier on Patreon. It's called What If? And we're addressing not just the case of Christopher Watts, but all sorts of different cases. Like, what if Scott Peterson is not guilty? But we're focusing right now on the case of Christopher Watts. And if you already belong to the main one, the Missmensa true crime case discussion one, The same videos that are being uploaded daily to the What If tier will also be uploaded to the Missmensa True Crime Case Discussion tier. That one gets whatever videos from any of the tiers. I'm not sure, Welsh. I don't know. The diabetic thing is interesting, Star Mama. So what if law enforcement would have dug in further as to why people were claiming she was diabetic? I mean, who came up with that story? Who passed it around and said, hey, say this to law enforcement? What if law enforcement would have dug in, and really questioned what was the drive right from the very beginning to bash and slam Cindy Watts? I think that's something law enforcement should have dug into. It seemed pretty obvious. Welsh says she wasn't diabetic, in my opinion. She was not diabetic. Diabetes does not get diagnosed on a weekend jaunt for sales training for one of the MLMs she signed up for. And I don't care who was a nurse. I really don't. I'm so tired of everybody with this case supposedly, oh, she was a nurse. Yeah, she was a nurse. Yeah, she was a nurse. Yeah, everyone's a nurse, right? Even Nurse Nene. She was not diabetic. I don't know what that means, Welsh. I've never heard of that before. Sorry. I am techno challenged. Exactly, Welsh. And it needs to be a series of tests, too. They don't just test and go, oh, yeah, you're diabetic. That's not how it works. It's a series of tests, and you have to have 2 or more within a certain time frame, and it has to be a certain number, and it has to be a certain kind, either the A1C plus one of the 24-hour or 2 A1Cs within a certain time frame. The whole idea that some friend from an MLM, okay, can we be real? Are there any of you here who are like in love with those MLMs? If so, I'm sorry, I'm about to offend you. Anybody, I don't care what they claim their career once was, anybody who is signing up for one of those MLMs and jetting off to go spend a couple days in a hotel somewhere to, act all excited with a bunch of other people who sign up for the MLMs, I'm sorry. Any diagnosis coming from anybody in attendance would be like, okay, sure. If somebody has the IQ that it would require, and I'm not saying a high IQ, I'm saying if somebody is within the IQ range that would be necessary to keep spending money on an MLM over and over again, and to be pretending with themselves and each other that they're someday going to hit it rich, or that they're already hitting it rich. Come on. Ronnie Watt said that his daughter-in-law was 35th from the top. Really? I don't believe it. And I think it just goes to show how gullible Ronnie is. 35th from the top? Yeah. Doubt it. If that's where the medical diagnosis is coming from, is somebody who signed up for an MLM and goes on sales training seminars, You know what? If you're so concerned that she might be diabetic, and I don't mean you, I'm putting this out into the air to whoever her, I guess her medical professionals, right? In her world. If you honestly are so concerned that she might have been diabetic, that you would tell her she's diabetic, did it ever concern you that she was claiming to be 15 weeks pregnant and she had yet to see her doctor? 15 weeks pregnant. But yeah, let's talk about her sugar levels. How about talking about whether or not the pregnancy is viable? That's what I'd be talking about. Was the pregnancy even viable at that point? Was she spotting and cramping? Had she already lost the pregnancy? She didn't feel well. She was popping pills, right? We learned that from all those videos. She was popping her pills for her migraines. Is that the code word for it? Exactly. I don't believe it either, Star Mama. I don't. And quite frankly, I think migraines is code word for drug abuse. I don't mean you, me, whoever else, migraine city, right? I mean, in this case that we're discussing, I think the whole idea that a pregnant woman claimed she was pregnant to begin with, also claimed that she was spotting and cramping, also claimed that she hadn't seen her OB, also popping pills. What is she taking? What is she taking while she's pregnant and she has people sitting there guessing whether or not she's a diabetic? It's so ironic, isn't it? Oh, it's a little boy, and oh, they already picked out the name, and oh, she was going to give him a son, blah, 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 blah. Oh, go to the doctor? What for? Pop another pill, yeah. Oh, yeah, she's diabetic. Come on. Maybe she wasn't even pregnant. Maybe if she was pregnant, she already past the point where the pregnancy was viable. Maybe she did spot and cramp. What was that, 2 weeks earlier? Maybe 2 weeks earlier she did spot and cramp. Sure seems weird to me she didn't rush right to the emergency room. Yes, what happened to that container of meds that was in the basement film footage? Mandy says, I think she just told CW that she was spotting and cramping for sympathy because he wasn't calling. I think she was telling CW whatever lie she had to tell him to get some attention. Or control. You know, I thought about something the other day. Don't you love it when I start off a sentence that way? You remember how she sat in the restaurant? I think it was on a Friday night or a Saturday night. She's out with a friend, right? Well, Christopher Watts is at home taking care of the girls in the house and everything and working full-time while she sits on her duff all week and calls herself a stay-at-home mom, blah, blah, blah. She asked the questions about whether or not the parent who does have custody of the children can move out of state, and she found out, yes, they can. I don't think she liked that answer because I think she probably figured dang well that she wouldn't be the one getting custody. And then she ordered t-shirts. Did it again or something like that. T-shirts she couldn't afford, by the way. I don't think she liked the answers that lawyer gave her. And then all of a sudden, both girls had to have surgery in the same day? Really? Wait a minute. They had to have surgery in the month of March. Right at the same time that Christopher Watts found out she wasn't even making the house payment for 3 months straight. And he had to rob his 401k in order to save the family home. And then all of a sudden, both girls needed to have surgery in the same day. This is riding on the tail here of this comment that she was doing it for sympathy. I think she was doing it for total control. I think she was totally mentally messing with everybody. Oh, both girls need surgery. Oh, they both have to have surgery in the same day? Really? Isn't that weird? A little bit. I think so. If you look at that information within the context of what was going on at the time, she stopped making the house payment in December. In March, Christopher Watts found out she had not been making the house payment. She was absolutely sabotaging his ability to go buy another house. Not forever, but he would have had to have waited longer. And if he was going to rent a place, he might have had to have prepaid. He may have had trouble getting the better deal because they look at housing credit. She was sabotaging his ability to leave. She was sabotaging his financials. Her name wasn't on the house. Her name wasn't on the mortgage. Remember, there was a quitclaim deed in July, posted to the public site in July of 2015, smack dab in the middle of that bankruptcy. Isn't that called hiding your assets? I wonder. So look at it within that context. She got caught. She got caught sabotaging his. She got caught screwing him. And I don't mean physically. She got caught. And he had to bail her out again. And I guess lie to himself and everyone else. Oh, gee, just some little mistake or something. What was it with the HOA crap? Oh, she just sent the payments to the wrong address. Bullshit. That is a lie. One of many that we've been told over the last 3 years. So look at the timing. She was found out for what she was pulling. Christopher Watts to the rescue, saves the house. And then, oh, Bella and Cece both need surgery in the same day. Did you see the photo of her sitting at the hospital in her scrubs? She had one on her lap and she had her arm reached out to touch the other. Kind of hard to say, what the hell are you doing not making the house payment when you've got 2 kids both going under the knife? Did she line those poor little babies up for surgery because she knew she had just been found out? Is that what happened every time it was, oh, the kids have to be in the emergency room? I don't know. Maybe at some point he might say, what'd you do all day? Right? Maybe she was trying to come up with some kind of drama. Boo-hoo, the kids are sick all the time. I don't know about you. But my ex-husband, there would not have been a collection taken at work to buy pillows for our children, for Pete's sake. Do you know any men who would be cool with that? She was cool with it, wasn't she? And he probably felt even shorter than he already was. He had to call in and take off work because the kids were sick. I bet he felt like a total fool every time. Do you know any men who would be calling in and taking the day off every time your kids were sick? Did he ever get any sleep? That sounds like a random question, but it fits right in. Did he ever have time to stop and think about what the hell was going on? Take a look at how the girls were sick. Oh, they had respiratory crap going on. Really? What were they breathing in? What medicines were they being given? Don't you think it's kind of interesting the way their illnesses ran? Diarrhea for how many days? 15 days, I think she said one time. Right. Might want to line up for an IV for fluids at that point, honey. Did anyone believe that? Did anybody actually believe that poor little Bella had diarrhea for that many days in a row, or was it her? No, wait, she was constipated for that many days. I don't know, it's all so confusing. But it sure seems she had some sort of a fetish about you know what. I'm saying what all you were thinking. You know I'm right. Pictures, comments, rectal thermometers, CC's feces. Exactly, Welsh. How degrading. A fund for pillows. Did they even have any allergies? Maybe what they had was a hypersensitivity to being medically abused. That's my opinion. And why is it that all of the people talking about this case over the last 3 years are like, oh, she was such a good mom. Oh, she was such a good mom. Show me the video where she was such a good mom, please. Show me the video. I'm not talking about the picture that she had to wear her scrubs. You know, Nurse Nene and all who said that she was accepted into a nursing program, which when we dug in, the nursing program she claimed she was accepted into did not even exist. Lie after lie after lie. Show me a video where she's a good mom. Show me one video. Tell me one video where she's a good mom. Please. One. Just one. Well, you know, I have a theory about all those shoes she had. I think they came from the Goodwill. I really do. I think her scrubs did too. You know, you can buy scrubs at the Goodwill. Tell me one video, please. One video. And if you say the Barrett's one, I'll disagree. There you go, Susie. I bet it did. I never thought of that. Yeah, we were thinking that she got it off of Amazon for anywhere from $30 to $60. I bet you're right. They probably had one at the Goodwill because they have canes and walkers and everything. I bet you're right, Susie. Never thought of that. Does anyone know where the nearest Goodwill is to Saratoga Trail? Let's take a look on Google. Let's go. I don't even know if they have Goodwill stores out there. Frederick, Colorado. Let's see. I bet she was a frequent flyer at the Goodwill. Because those shoes were not nice. I'm sorry, they weren't. Oh my goodness. You guys are going to laugh at me on this one. I just typed in Goodwill and then I put Frederick, Colorado. Let's see what we have here. Goodwill Longmont store. Yep. 1750 North Main Street, Longmont. Okay, now let's take a look and see. What was the name of that place that Christopher Watts worked? Longmont Ford, I think it was. Longmont Ford dealership. This is weird. I just want to see their website. I don't want to see all this other stuff. Longmont Ford. Okay, somebody help me here. Hop on and try to find the Longmont Ford dealership website. Longmont Ford dealership. If Megan J is still in the room, she might be interested to learn this. Why isn't there a website popping right up for that? Okay, here's something. It doesn't say Longmont Ford. Here we go. Longmont Ford dealership near Longmont. Okay. I just want to see what their address is. I want to see how close they are to the Goodwill. Oh, this looks like, huh? Isn't it right in Longmont? Longmont Ford dealership. I just want to know about us. Looks like they might have changed their name. Okay, now just give me your address here. I want the address. Weird, because that doesn't say Longmont. I thought it was in Longmont. Is this another little rabbit hole, guys? Okay, give me MapQuest. MAPQUEST. Now, I'm going to put in this address, which I don't even know for sure it's the one we're looking at. I want directions. Come on, come on. Give me directions. Start searching. Okay, paste. That's not even Longmont. Something's up with this. I'm confused with something. You guys can help me if you want. Now let's get directions to, okay, where are you starting? Let's start off and let's go to the Goodwill. Now, where's my Goodwill here? Goodwill's address is right there. So we copy, we go back to the directions, and we paste. And now we hit get directions. Man, there are a lot of ads on this. I want to see the total miles. It just gives me a list. Oh, okay, let's see. Longmont, Colorado. It's not showing the address. I'll just put in Goodwill, Longmont. Okay, now let's try it. Oh, this is too confusing. Click out of that. Click out of that. But that's interesting. It doesn't look like, well, it looks like they might have changed their name. Either way, my hunch is the Goodwill was right by that dealership. All of that to support my theory. Oh my goodness. Did you guys find it already? Oh, good. Tulip has an address. Sorry, I'm too busy acting silly. Oh, did they change it to that one? Because there's another one that says Longmont Ford, and then it said something like Interstate Ford or something with something on Laura Drive. So does somebody else who is like more computer savvy than I am, do you want to put in the Goodwill in Longmont and the dealership that Tulips put there? And see how close they are. I bet you they're next door or, a stone's throw. Because those shoes, I think they came from the Goodwill. I really do. And didn't the buyer on the house in North Carolina say that they were in some big hurry and all of a sudden they got surprised that they were going to leave all the furnishings and stuff? Well, if you're going to leave all your furnishings, you're not going to worry about dragging those shoes with you. I think they were newly acquired at the secondhand store. Susie says she's pissing herself laughing. Ooh, Sharon got a lovely cat tree from one. Cool. I'm scrolling to see what I missed. You guys are having more fun than I was. Well, and I'm not even sure that they were like, seriously, they look worn and torn and they look like something you'd wear at the truck stop after hours, Guest star mama. I think she looked 40. I didn't think that at first. A lot of people were saying that, and I kept going, I don't know. But look at her photos. She had wrinkles. There you go, Carol. Drag queen shoes from the Salvation Army thrift shop. There you go. There's nothing wrong with, checking out whatever, but there is something very odd, very strange, very weird to have a shoe wall with a bunch of crappy looking shoes. If you're going to have a shoe wall, they better be nice shoes. If you want it to be believable, that is. And that's the thing we're talking about. What is believable with this case? Is there anything? Is there anything at all? Anything? And still, too, if you guys know of a video where she's such a good mom in a video, please tell me. I'd like to watch it. Yes, the shoe room painted that color. Exactly. I like the way you spell color. That's how Chicago spells color in my world. And didn't she misspell the word gorgeous? I'm sorry, but if you honestly believe you're gorgeous, you know how to spell the word. And I highly doubt she made that sign herself. So that would mean that she and another person didn't know how to spell. Exactly. Welsh says, what mother puts pigtails in one girl's hair, yet cuts the older girl's hair who wanted to have long hair? And I'm sorry, I wouldn't even call those pigtails. They look like the kind that hurt. Those were not even Pebbles pigtails. Those were like, oh, there's 10 strands of hair. Let's go ahead and pretend like we have a pony. Exactly, Star Mama. They ride around in my trunk instead. I'm just being a smart aleck. I just looked out and I think, where's my dog? Hold on. Oh, there he is. Okay. I saw something move by the car. If it's a bear, you will hear Missmensa scream. I was walking this morning and all of a sudden my dog's looking up the hill like, I don't know, like kind of like he was saying, hey, there's a bear right on the other side of that hill. And when you're out in the woods and all of a sudden you think, ooh, what's the dog alerting to right now? And there weren't any deer here this morning. And that's always when the bear comes through. Every time the bears come through, the deer don't, right? Because they're smart. So there I am, pretty far away from the house, pretty close to one of the buildings, though, thinking to myself, how fast could I get in that building? And then thinking, probably the bear couldn't get in the building, I don't think. I don't think they'd even want to because they're pretty lame, I think. They say they're more afraid of people than people are of them. So anyway, once the dog kind of starts looking up the hill like, uh-oh, I was like saying, uh-oh, all the way back. 2.7 miles apart, Amanda. Thank you so much. 2.7 miles apart. Yep, I think we solved the shoe question. Exactly, you guys. Those shoes on that wall, no way. She always wore her flip-flops. I took a picture of them. Here, you want a picture of them? I'll give you a picture of the flip-flops. And for any of you wondering, this is not bashing anybody. This is saying, maybe with an edge, that we are so tired of being lied to about the case of Christopher Watts. There are two little girls who deserved to be safe in their own home. The same two little girls who were subjects in hundreds of videos that we find to be very offensive. If she wanted to get up there and make a fool of herself, that's on her. But we saw way too many videos where poor little Bella and Cece were not being treated well. What dose is lots of Tylenol? We are so tired of the bullshit. Why is the truth so hard to come by in the case of Christopher Watts? Why is it that nothing about this case makes any sense whatsoever? And why weren't Bella and Cece Watts removed from that home long before the tragedy occurred? Carol says she saw a photo of Bella with a decent amount of hair. It was probably during the summer when Bella and Cece were around other adults. When Cindy Watts sent me those videos of Bella and Cece that summer of 2018, I'm like, wow, look at Bella. She looks like a totally different kid. And remember how Cindy Watts told us in that conversation, she said it herself, how poor little Bella was afraid of everything, but then she really started to come out of her shell. Yeah, isn't it amazing, Susie, how quick Bella seemed to be recovering? Does that bring any alarm to anybody? You know, oh, she was such a great mom. Then why were her kids thriving when there were other adults around? Why were they thriving? And yeah, I'm using that word on purpose. That should have concerned everybody. Bella and Cece deserved to be protected. And they weren't. And I don't know about you guys. Everyone's free to have their own opinion on this case. On this channel, anyway. But I don't think Christopher Watts murdered his children. I don't think Christopher Watts had anything at all to lose in that divorce. I think his wife had everything to lose, and I think she knew it. I don't know about that, Daisy Days, but I did listen to a few minutes of Christopher Watts' interview, and he was saying how difficult it was to have other people living there with them. He said that after they got a job, then it got a little bit easier, but they didn't have jobs when they went there. Oh my goodness, Welsh, I didn't know that. I saw that about the 1%. I saw a video on that just in the last couple weeks. I didn't know that either. Okay, we have a couple people talking kind of like it was all an act or a stage or whatever. Are you like talking Meg and Jay kind of stage, or are you talking just like everything in their life was just a farce? And either way is fine, because again, all opinions are welcome here. Exactly, Carol. And he said the same thing to his parents, too. He was looking for an apartment for him and his children, Bella and Cece. He said he was getting a 2-bedroom and that he was going to get bunk beds for the girls. I didn't hear any mention of any crib. Exactly, Star Mama. Why did they have people moving in? At one point, I think in that letter, law enforcement was told that it was during her difficult pregnancy, but she wasn't pregnant when they moved in. Walsh is pointing out the 4 different spellings. And don't forget Veronica and Nurse Nene. In my opinion, they all had a different personality attached. Cecile says she's on the fence. Everything is so unbelievable. That's what happens when we get lied to repeatedly. Cosmo says that she's suffering from common sense. You came to the right place. We like a little logic and reason with our coffee, don't we? Susie says, bingo, Mensa. Bingo for what, Susie? That we like a little logic and reason with our coffee? Or was it because we get lied for 3 years straight and we're supposed to be like, oh, okay, he's an evil monster. She's perfect. She was such a good mom. She did more than 90 or 95% of the other women out there. She was 35th from the top. She earned her car. She bought a mansion. She made $500,000 a year. She was so inspirational. She had diabetes. She had lupus. She had fibro. She had endo. She had high-risk pregnancies. It was a miracle she could even get pregnant. Cindy Watts is a monster. She didn't go to the wedding. Did you know that? Did you know that? This is really important. You have a missing, endangered missing, no less. You have an endangered missing woman. And it's time to talk about whether or not 5.5 years earlier, anybody on the husband side of the family dared to attend. You know, the wedding of the century. You know, if we're going to talk so much about who didn't go to that wedding, I want to know who didn't go to the first one. Don't you think people are awfully quiet about that first wedding? Who didn't go to it? Why is it the only photos show just the bride and groom? The only photos that I've seen so far. And people like sending me stuff. A lot of stuff. Who didn't go to her first wedding? And why not? How could they not go to that wedding? Exactly, Star Mama. If she was making $500,000 a year, which I highly doubt she ever made $50,000 a year, let alone $500,000, I highly doubt she ever made $5,000 a year, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't believe the whole hospital story. I don't believe it. I do not believe she would have been hired. But anyway, let's just say she actually did have an income, which I don't believe. Then why did she buy a house with less than 5% down? At that age? Really? Tulip says, I watched the Christmas parade video this morning. Bella was trying to sing Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and SW started singing a different song. It made me cry. Poor little Bella. She was always getting the rug swept out from under her. Remember that one where she said, do you want birthday cake or do you want, I don't know, whatever those ridiculous flavors were? And whichever one Bella chose, she went with the other one. Susie said I could be around her something pal in Hawaii. I could be in Hawaii, but I don't think I could be around her pal. Here's my thought process on the whole idea of whether or not it's all fake. I think that the tragedy actually happened. And I think that as soon as the tragedy happened, and I mean before the bodies were recovered, I think there were people called in to help to either take control or to try to somehow manage any discussion on the case, kind of like a public relations thing. Because I think she already had plenty of contact with law enforcement, with protective services, with different hospitals. And I think that when it became evident that there were 2 children missing, endangered missing, along with their mother, who for some odd reason was listed as an endangered missing person, that they knew that it probably wouldn't look very good on anybody, including, I don't know, whatever payouts maybe. I don't know. If it became known that Bella and Cece were not immediately removed from the home. I don't know. Were the cameras somehow supposed to protect Bella and Cece? Because I got news for you. Cameras can't protect children. Welsh says, why was she classified as endangered? Isn't that a good question? That's a really good question. Susie says I meant couldn't. I wondered about that when I first read it. Is that the hyper one? I think that's the hyper one. Oh, I don't know. They all are, I guess. If they get together and start talking about how rich they're going to be one day. No, missing people are not assumed endangered. Not at all, Welsh. The claim was that she was a 34-year-old woman. It was, a Monday? Middle of the day? Sun was shining. I cannot think of any reason for her to be listed as an endangered missing unless she was a danger to herself or to others. Check the knives. Check them for what? Count them? Maybe count them and see how many are missing? Who would know how many there should have been? Mandy Bella, what medicine? Seriously, what medicine? I don't think she was listed as endangered because she didn't have her medicine. If you look up the whole endangered missing person routine, it's usually reserved for like the elderly, the elderly, or those who have special needs. I think she was listed as endangered because I think she was known to the department. And I think she was a frequent flyer, not only to the hospital, I think she was also a frequent flyer to law enforcement and to CPS. Mandy, she wasn't diabetic. I don't remember that, Judy. Money is power, sex is power, getting money for sex, power. I don't remember that. If you find it, let me know. I know there's been a lot of there have been a lot of different interesting posts that are a little tougher to find now. That's why I'm glad people send me stuff. Exactly, Welsh. Exactly right. Why were the girls listed as endangered? They were with their mother, right? I think you have all three of them listed as endangered, then you pretty much your eyebrows go up and you go, huh? Excuse me? What did you say? And again, why are we being lied to? Why are we being lied to over and over again? Here's the thing. There is not a stigma against mental illness or the mentally ill. There is a stigma against lying. And there's an opportunity to say what the real situation was and to help society become aware of these issues so that we can hopefully better protect other children in the future. Nope, not in the case of Christopher Watts. She was perfect. She was successful. She was an inspiration. She was an inspiration, all right, on how not to treat your children. I'm sorry, that Christmas video, why wasn't CPS knocking the door down at that point? And I don't mean that they knocked the door down, but you know what I mean. Why weren't they knocking at the door? Saying what we saw in that video is very concerning. Well, how do we know they didn't, right? Yes, Star Mama, that's a good point. That one detective, actually, I think he hosted a group about people who tried to commit suicide. Good question, Carol. Why did NA ask if she was going to be arrested? Susie, I think that's a really good point. You know it when you see it. I think that traveling makeup bag held some answers. But I think once it went on its little vacation, well, I just question why on earth was that ever put into the evidence locker? There's something called a chain of custody for evidence, which does not include vacations to the East Coast. Why wasn't it taken immediately before the house got turned over? Yeah, remember Welsh? The son said, hey, remember me? Yes. What would ever necessitate a phone call every single evening to check on the girls? Check on the girls for what? And I know a lot of people have bashed Christopher Watts. Oh, he was just a wimp and all that other stuff, right? I don't think he was a wimp. I think he was exhausted. I think he was crushed. Personally, I think he was crushed ever since their first year of marriage during the 32nd week of the pregnancy with Bella. Because I think that's when he discovered a side to his new wife that he had no clue existed. But even if he was some kind of a wuss or wimp or whatever, and I don't think that's the case. I think he was a man who was exhausted, and I think he was biding his time until he could get himself and those girls out of there. And I don't mean out of the house. You do realize he would have been fine in the house without her. The house expense wasn't what was crushing him. The stockpile in the basement and that car in the driveway, that's what was crushing the family finances. But whether or not he was a doormat, whether or not he was exhausted, whether or not he was, not speaking up, I don't know any man who would put up with having the in-laws calling every single night. Unless, maybe, he didn't mind giving his in-laws the report on how his wife was doing that day. Blue Autumn, I think there are a lot of people in this chat right now who agree with you. Blue Autumn evidently agrees that, in my opinion, I think it's possible and maybe even probable, at the very least, that it could be true that Christopher Watts was telling the truth when he said he did not murder Bella and Cece Watts. Well, Cosmo says, agree, but in my opinion, makes no sense to procreate again after little Bella. How do we know they did? We've been lied to about so many things. How do we know they're not lying about that too? Well, Christopher Watts sits there behind bars, evidently happy to, keep covering. That's interesting, Carol. Maybe that nightly phone call was part of some sort of family plan. Susie says, oh, here we go. Oh, did I miss something? Star Mama says, oh boy, here it comes. What? What am I missing? Susie says he's doing it for the family out of guilt. Susie says she never thought any different. A revenge kill. There's something called spousal revenge filicide. I'm going to go ahead and Google it. Spousal revenge filicide. This is, I think, what happened. Well, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence for the case of Darlie Routier because I think part of her thing was her claim that she was sexually abused when she was a child. I think she had some sort of like a post-trauma nightmare or something. But I do think that they did have words between them. She admitted it in her plea statement. And then he went up to bed. She slept on the sofa. And she had already said the reason she didn't go for help was because she was afraid her mother-in-law would get custody of the kids in the divorce down the road or in the custody battle down the road. So I do think that it's possible that what she did was spousal revenge filicide. Let's take a look. Parents committing spouse revenge filicide kill children in a specific attempt, I'm quoting here, to make the spouse suffer. And what was it? Remember? Didn't Cindy Watts tell us that she told him that she was going to make him pay for this and that he was never going to see the children again? Remember that? Cindy Watts told us that. Blue Autumn thinks MK was involved. I don't think so at all. I agree with Susie. Exactly. Exactly right, Susie. I agree with you. All opinions are welcome. I'm not trying to slam anyone for having a different opinion, but I don't think that I don't think MK was involved at all. Yeah, remember that, Star Mama? If he would have been the female, she would have been in jail. Yes, Susie. I think her life that she was trying to pretend existed, but I don't think it ever did. I think all of the secrets were going to come out at that upcoming court hearing for, quote, an ongoing family matter. And I think that she was through. Think about it too. If that pregnancy was no longer viable, or if it was never viable, that secret was about to come out too. I don't know, when they released that one video or any of the pictures that we've seen, she didn't look pregnant to me. I mean, at that point of the pregnancy, you don't. But if they're going to kind of try to act like, oh yeah, she looked pregnant, that's not what pregnant looks like. Star Mama says SW was abusive. She didn't care about anyone but herself. She wanted the spotlight, and she's still getting it. I don't think she's getting the spotlight at all. I think they're using so many fake profiles to try to make it look like she's ooh la la. I think there are way too many videos and photos and her comments out there. You know what I'm saying? I do think she was abusive. I also think she was mentally ill. And I think she probably had a history of self-harm. Yes, that's right, Carol. She told Cindy Watts that she would never see the girls again and that the girls would never step foot in that house. That's a whole lot of threats going on in a 1 month time frame. And then she's asking Christopher Watts, would you stay with me if we didn't have kids? And then she said every time she tried to talk to him about their, failing whatever, that he would say he wasn't going to lose the girls. Oh, so staying with her meant he was going to lose the girls? Huh? You see what I'm saying? Daisy Day says she would have had to move back to her mommy's. And here's the thing. Either that or she would have had to maybe, live in someone's basement or, you know what I mean? Live in someone else's whatever. I mean, her entire stage was about to disappear. Susie says, in my opinion, the case is pretty simple. It is simple if you recognize the possibility that Christopher Watts was telling the truth when he said he didn't kill Bella and Cece. It's simple if you recognize the possibility that there may have been an open CPS case and she was about to lose any access to the kids. Then it is very simple. Also, keep in mind, one of her idols, a couple of her idols, wasn't Kate Spade one of her idols? The purse lady? Committed suicide, right? Am I right? And then that Anthony something or other, another one of her idols, she posted about that guy. He committed suicide. Walsh agrees with Susie that the only conspiracy is the cover-up. The cover-up of SW's actions, etc. And think about this too, you guys. Welsh says also, one of her parents said she liked to be in control. Well, we know she was losing control and about to lose everything. That would have been horrific for her to announce and admit to her fans, please, to her handful of fellow MLMers, you mean? Exactly. Exactly right. It's like I say, Christopher Watts had nothing to lose. He had everything to gain. And think about it. If she was a frequent flyer for, self-harm and that sort of thing, And if those kids weren't removed, if there was documentation of medical abuse, well, you know the case of Susan Cox Powell, right? That jury verdict came back at $93 million. The court changed it. I think they brought it down to $33 million. And look at the case of Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum. Look at that trial. How everything came out at trial. How CPS dropped the ball. By keeping two little girls in a dangerous home. Star Mama says that her dad told LE that her legs could kick you across the room. Is that what he said? I didn't know that. I thought he said something like, oh yeah, she has really strong legs or something like that. Can do, I don't know. It's like, yeah, how do you know how strong her legs are? But if you think about it, if there was a history of maybe calling for help and then maybe going in, you know, taking her in for observation or something, maybe she kicked an EMT or two. Ooh, Daisy Days. I was looking to see what Daisy said because you guys are commenting. Daisy Days said, when I first saw that house, it reminded me of the Amityville horror house. All I can say to that is poor little Bella and Cece. Oh, good. Welsh said fans was using the word fans was being sarcastic. Oh, good. I'm like, what? Yeah, she had like 3 likes, right? And one of the 3 likes was her own. Exactly. When someone is losing it completely, nothing's off limits. Well, okay. Here's a comparison for you. I did a video the other day for Patreon about comparing Darlie Routier and Christopher Watt's wife. Think about this about the Darlie Routier case. If you don't know that case, I'll tell you this. 4 weeks before, 2 of her children were murdered in what should have been the safety of their own home. Little Devin and Damon Routier were murdered middle of the night. 4 weeks before, Darlie had a meltdown. Did you know that? 4 weeks before, Darlie had a meltdown. What happened 4 weeks before poor little Bella and Cece were murdered in what should have been the safety of their own home in the middle of the night? Somebody had a meltdown. I think it was 4.5 weeks before. Somebody had a meltdown. Well, let's take a look at the reproductive cycle. Hormones. And maybe a little mental illness thrown in. So 1 month after accusing Cindy Watts of attempting to murder one of the children, the children got murdered. Have you ever accused your mother-in-law of attempting to murder your children? I think not. Isn't that kind of weird? That 1 month later, the girls were murdered. Isn't it kind of weird that 1 month before those poor little girls were murdered in what should have been the safety of their own home, that Cindy Watts was told they would never step foot in her house again. She would never see them again. Don't you think it's weird that according to Christopher Watts, the last thing he remembers her saying is, you're never going to see the girls again, and I'm going to make you pay for this. I tried to sound really, Did I sound Or no? That's a whole lot of threatening language going on. Coming from a person who, based on her own videos, based on her own social media posts, like to say death, dying, strangle. She's going to strangle the dog before his barking wakes up the sleeping children, and she strangles. And then she hesitated and finally said, the dog. Like, that sentence makes no sense, right? Because we pretty much can figure what she almost said. Do you hear my dog freaking out? Because we have company all of a sudden here. Dang it. We're having a good conversation. A good discussion. If you guys are game, I'll hop back on a little bit later. Exactly, Welsh. Exactly. What if we were able to see the full autopsy reports? And if there's a CPS file, I'd like to see that too. I'm going to take off for now, but I'll hop on later in the day. You guys have a really good rest of the day, and we'll talk soon. Today, hopefully. I'm thinking, yeah. Talk to you soon.